Some people say children imagine things in the dark, but children don't imagine shadow figures that stand still in your doorway, watching you breathe. Children don't imagine two glowing white heads staring at them from a balcony in the middle of the night. And children don't imagine their dad bursting into the room terrified, whispering, "Did you see it too?" When I was 5 years old, a house just outside Atlanta became the place that changed my life forever. A place that gave me years of nightmares. A place my whole family saw things we can't explain. A place where darkness didn't just hide, it watched us. This is the true story of the haunting we all tried to forget, but the house never let us. You're watching True Haunting Log. Where real people share the real stories that change their lives forever. If you've ever wondered what it feels like to grow up inside a home where shadows move on their own, where whispers follow you, and where something unseen knows your name, stay until the end. Because this haunting didn't just affect one person, it affected my entire family, and none of us were ever the same. I was 5 years old the day we left Atlanta and moved into that new house. My dad said it was a fresh start. My mom said it was what we could afford, and I just wanted a room of my own. The house itself looked normal enough, a cheap 2-story place with thin siding that felt like you could poke a hole right through it. Small front yard, squeaky steps, paint already starting to fade. Nothing special. Nothing scary. At least, not yet. For the first 2 weeks, I didn't even have a bed. I slept on the floor with a blanket and a pillow, excited for the bunk bed my mom had promised me. When it finally arrived, I climbed into it like it was a treasure. I felt grown up, safe, comfortable. That feeling lasted only a few hours. That first night, around midnight, my eyes snapped open for no reason. No nightmare, no sound, just awake. A soft golden light was shining under my door, stretching across the carpet. Someone was awake in the hallway. I lifted my head and froze. Standing across my empty room was a tall, dark figure, not moving, not breathing, just there. Its shape was wrong, too tall, too thin, no face. Just a shadow darker than the room around it. My whole body went stiff, my throat closed up. All I could do was turn my back to it, pull the blanket over my head, and pray it didn't come closer. For nearly an hour, I lay there, shaking, trying to gather the courage to scream. Finally, I yelled for my parents, loud, desperate, terrified. My dad burst through the door within seconds. I was relieved, until he said 6 words that have never left my mind. "Did you see it too?" I lied. No, and he didn't push it. He just climbed into the top bunk, still shaken, and tried to sleep. Nothing else happened that night, but our house had already chosen us. After that first night, I hoped, really hoped, it was just my imagination. A trick of the light, a childish fear, something that would disappear once I got used to the house. But things didn't stop, they changed, and they got worse. Our house had a balcony that looked over the living room and den. I used to sleep on the couch down below because it faced the TV. It made me feel safe, like noise and light kept the darkness away. One night, when I was maybe 7 or 8, I woke up without knowing why. No sound, no dream, just awake again. For a minute, everything was completely still. I could hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen, the heater clicking quietly in the hallway, normal stuff. Then I felt something, a pressure, like eyes on me. I tilted my head back, slowly, and looked up toward the balcony railing. 2 bright white heads, round, pale, glowing weakly like dying flashlights, were leaning over the railing, staring straight down at me. They didn't have bodies. They didn't blink, just hovered there, unmoving, watching. My breath stopped. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. I was trapped. A kid frozen on a couch while 2 ghostly faces stared me into silence. Then, as suddenly as they appeared, they slid backward into the darkness and vanished. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I didn't even close my eyes. And to this day, I can still picture them, those blank white faces hovering in the dark. It didn't stop there. A couple years later, I saw something else, something that made my stomach drop instantly. I was walking through the hallway when a tall shadow glided along the wall beside me, almost like it was connected to me, or following me. No body, no sound, just a long, thin shape moving beside me, stretching unnaturally across the wall. When it reached the end of the hallway, it didn't turn, it didn't fade, it just slipped into the corner and disappeared like it had stepped through an invisible door. I remember standing there, breathless, feeling the hair rise on my arms and neck. It felt like the house had leaned in close and whispered, "I'm still here." After that, I started reading everything I could about ghosts. I bought books from the school library, studied old legends, even tried to learn why some spirits stay behind. I was desperate, not just to understand the haunting, but to survive it. Then one day, I read something that changed everything. Cats keep spirits away. I begged my mom for 2 cats. Not 1, 2. She agreed, thinking it was just a kid wanting pets. But the moment we brought them home, the house changed. The cats wouldn't go near certain rooms. Sometimes they would hiss at empty corners. Sometimes they'd follow invisible movements with their eyes, as if something was walking through the room. And slowly, very slowly, the activity reduced. The whispering, the shadows, the feeling of being watched, it all softened. For the first time in years, I felt like maybe we were winning. But the house wasn't done with us, not even close. One afternoon, I was walking past my old bedroom, the one where I had first seen the tall shadow. As I stepped by the doorway, I heard it, a whisper, my name, spoken softly from inside the room. Not a voice I recognized, not my mom, not my dad, not a sibling, a stranger's voice, quiet, close, like someone standing right behind the door. The cat, one of the new ones, walked out of the room, purring loudly, rubbing against my leg, as if someone had just been petting it. A chill went down my spine. Someone, something, had just been in that room. Before I could move, the door, a cheap, hollow, lightweight door, slammed shut behind the cat, hard, violent, like someone had kicked it with all their strength. The cat didn't flinch. It just looked at the door, like it had seen this before. I screamed. My whole family came running. And for the first time, they didn't try to deny it. They didn't try to explain it away. They didn't tell me it was my imagination. Because they had all heard the whisper, and they had all seen the impossible slam. After the whisper and the door slam, something changed in our house. It wasn't just random moments anymore. It wasn't just cold spots, or shadows, or the feeling of being watched. It felt personal. My mom tried to act like everything was normal. She smiled more, stayed busy, kept the TV on louder than usual, but her eyes told the truth. She was scared. My dad, on the other hand, tried to ignore it. He wasn't the type to believe in ghosts. If he couldn't touch it, he didn't think it was real. But that didn't stop the house from proving him wrong. For years, my mom stayed quiet about what she saw. She didn't want to scare me or my little brother. She didn't want us to know how terrified she was. But after we moved out of that house, years later, she finally told me the truth. She had seen the same tall shadow figure I saw, multiple times, standing in doorways, standing in corners, standing near our beds at night. She even gave names to a couple of the spirits, names I had never told her about. That meant we weren't sharing dreams. We weren't imagining things. We were all seeing the same shadows, the same heads, the same impossible figures. And she had one more secret she kept from us. A secret she told me when I was older, one that still sends chills down my back. She had the house tested for carbon monoxide poisoning. Not once, not twice, 3 different times. Every test came back normal, perfectly normal. No leaks, no gas. That meant something else had been in that house. Something real. The strangest thing was how the activity seemed to learn us, study us, like we were the ones being watched in a zoo. It knew when Mom left the room. It knew when Dad was at work. It knew when my brother cried at night. And it definitely knew when I walked past that same doorway where everything started. That room, the room where I saw the tall figure for the first time, never felt empty. Never. I remember walking down the hall once and catching something in the corner of my eye. A shape thin, tall, leaning slightly, as if it had been waiting for me to notice it. When I looked straight at it, it didn't move. It just faded, like a shadow melting back into the wall. I learned not to look directly at things, not to turn my head too fast, not to talk about what I saw. Because every time I did, the house got louder, stronger, bolder. The 2 cats I had begged my mom to adopt helped at first. When they came into the house, the activity dropped, whispers stopped, shadows backed off. Whatever lived there didn't seem to like them. But after a while, even the cats started acting wrong. One would sit at the end of the hallway and stare into my old bedroom for hours, not blinking, just watching. The other cat refused to enter certain rooms, especially that first bedroom. Its fur would stand up. It would growl at empty corners. Sometimes its eyes would follow something across the ceiling, slowly, like it was tracking a moving person. Once, both cats hissed at the same exact spot in the hallway, a spot where nothing was visible. A moment later, the temperature dropped so fast, I saw my breath in the air. That wasn't normal. Heating systems don't create pockets of freezing air. Houses don't breathe cold. But whatever lived there, it did. One night I'll never forget it. I woke up thirsty and went to the kitchen for water. The house was quiet, too quiet. As I passed my old bedroom, the same room where everything started, I heard faint scratching inside. Scritch, scritch, like someone dragging a nail across the inside of the door. I froze. My heart thumped so hard I felt it in my throat. Then, the door handle turned. Just a tiny movement, a click, as if someone inside was slowly testing the knob. I backed up slowly, never taking my eyes off the door. And that's when I heard it, a whisper, soft, low, right through the crack in the door. Come here. I ran, not walked, not tiptoed. I ran to my parents' room like something was right behind me. I jumped into bed with them, shaking so hard my teeth chattered. My mom groggily asked what was wrong. I couldn't speak, not a single word. And when Dad went to check, the bedroom door was wide open. We always closed it, always. But that night, it opened on its own. The more we ignored it, the more it reacted. Books slid off shelves, lights flickered, cold drafts moved through closed rooms. But the worst part wasn't the physical stuff. It was the feeling, the constant, heavy, unseen pressure of being watched all the time, even in daylight. I learned to live with fear the same way some kids learn to ride a bike, slowly, painfully, and with a lot of falling. But the house wasn't done with us, not yet. Something bigger was coming, something darker, something we couldn't ignore. The last event, the one that finally made us leave, would change everything. Most hauntings build up slowly. Ours did too. Shadows first, whispers next, cold spots, figures in the balcony. But the night, everything changed. There was no warning, no build-up, just chaos. It was late, maybe close to midnight. My mom had already taken my little brother upstairs. My dad stayed downstairs watching TV, and I sat on the love seat under the balcony, trying not to think about the two white heads I'd once seen there. The house felt unusually still, not peaceful, just waiting. I was half asleep when I heard footsteps, not on the balcony above me, not in the hallway, but on the stairs, slow, heavy, one step at a time. My body froze, because everyone in the house was already upstairs. Then it stepped onto the ground floor. The air around me tightened, like the whole house inhaled. I didn't dare move. I didn't dare breathe. The footsteps came toward the couch, toward me, each one echoing through the living room. I turned my head slowly and saw it. A tall, thin shadow, the same one from my room, stood at the bottom of the stairs. Its head nearly reached the balcony ceiling. Its arms hung long, almost touching its knees. Its shape was human, but wrong in every way. And it was looking at me. I bolted to my feet and screamed for my dad. He jumped up instantly, but by the time he turned toward the stairs, the shadow was gone, completely gone, as if it had melted into the air. My dad didn't even say a word. He just locked the front door, closed every window, and told me to go upstairs. I didn't argue. But I didn't know then that the house wasn't done with us, not even close. Over the next few weeks, things got physical. We'd hear banging in the walls, like someone punching from the inside. Doors slammed without wind. The TV turned on by itself, full volume, right at 2 a.m. every night. My mom started sleeping with the light on. My dad slept with a baseball bat under the bed. I slept under the covers, even when it was too hot to breathe. But the house wasn't just trying to scare us. It wanted something. And we learned what that was the night it attacked all 4 of us. We were all in the hallway upstairs. My dad was carrying laundry. My mom was brushing my brother's hair. And I was leaning against the wall near my old room. The room where everything started. Then the hallway lights flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. My mom whispered, "Not now," her voice shaking. A sudden cold wind blasted through the hallway, even though every window was shut. My brother started crying. My dad told us to get behind him. And then, like something out of a nightmare, a tall, black mass crawled across the upstairs ceiling, stretching its long limbs ahead of it, its body twisting in ways no body should. We all backed up against the opposite wall. My mom covered my brother's face. My dad whispered, "Oh my God," and I saw pure fear in his eyes, the same fear he had the night he said, "Did you see it too?" The mass reached the end of the hallway, then dropped, hard, onto the floor. The house shook. All of us screamed. Then it vanished, like it fell through the floorboards into the dark. That was the moment my mom said, "We're leaving. I don't care how. We're leaving." But leaving wasn't easy, because the house didn't want us to. The night before we finally moved, the house was worse than ever. Every light flickered non-stop. Every room was freezing cold. The upstairs bathroom door slammed repeatedly, as if someone inside was trying to escape. The cats hid under the couch and wouldn't come out. My dad didn't sleep at all. My mom cried quietly while she packed. And I didn't even go near my old bedroom, not for 1 second. The last morning in that house felt unreal. Boxes everywhere, truck in the driveway, everyone moving fast, as if the faster we packed, the safer we were. When the final box was loaded, my dad walked back inside alone. He said he needed one last look, just to make sure nothing was left behind. Minutes passed, then more minutes. My mom finally told me to wait outside, while she checked on him. I stood by the moving truck, staring at the house, a house that had felt alive for so many years. Then, from the upstairs balcony window, I saw it. A tall shadow, still, silent, watching me through the glass. I didn't know if it was the same one I had seen at 5 years old, or something else entirely. But the shape didn't move, didn't fade, didn't blink. It just stared, right at me. My mom came running out with my dad behind her. Both were pale. Both refused to talk about what they saw upstairs. We got into the car and didn't look back, not once. But as we turned the corner, every single light in the house turned on, all at once, even the ones we unplugged. The whole house glowed bright white, then instantly went dark. Like it was saying goodbye, or maybe warning us. When you leave a haunted house, you don't leave the fear behind. You take it with you. For years, I couldn't sleep with my door closed. Every hallway looked too dark. Every whisper made me freeze. Every shadow made me stop breathing. My dreams were the worst. The tall figure standing in my doorway, the glowing heads on the balcony, the whisper calling my name. But the strangest part came later, when I was 16. My mom finally told me the whole truth. She had seen everything I saw, even more. She had even given names to some of the spirits. Spirits I never talked about out loud. That meant one thing. We shared the same haunting, the same visions, the same darkness. This wasn't a child's imagination. It wasn't a trick of light. It wasn't something we outgrew. It was real. When I turned 23, I made the mistake of going back, not inside, never inside, but to the sidewalk outside the house. It looked exactly the same cheap siding, same slanted balcony, same dead patch of grass by the porch steps. I stared at the house for a long time, thinking about everything that happened there. And then, in the upstairs hallway window, I saw it again. A tall, dense shadow, the same shape from my childhood, standing behind the glass. Watching me, waiting. I walked away, fast, heart pounding. And I never went back, never will. Some hauntings don't end when you move out. They stay with you, in your habits, your fears, your dreams. And houses like ours, they don't forget. They just wait for someone new. If this true story chilled you, hit the like button, subscribe to True Haunting Log, and keep your door open tonight, just in case. And if you have a real haunting story, something you still can't explain, email it to truehauntinglog@gmail.com. Your nightmare might be the next one we tell.